In my hand is one of the most anticipated and least suspenseful documents you're ever going to see. It's the American Kennel Club's ranking of most popular breeds of 2020 based on AKC registration stats. There's excitement, there's buzz, there's anticipation, right until we get to the top of the list. And now, the AKC's most popular breed of 2020 is...
the Labrador Retriever.
Yes, the Labrador Retriever. Well, yeah. No slight to the lab, quite the opposite. It's just that the Labrador Retriever topped the list last year and the year before. And in every year dating back to 1991, right about the time the world was learning the word email. And spoiler alert, I'll bet you a year's worth of lunch money the lab is number one again next year. So why the anticlimax? I mean, why shouldn't the labs of the world revel in this news?
I'm the king of the world!
Well, for one thing, braggadocio is out of character for such an eager-to-please breed, but for another, popular doesn't make one breed better than another, but it does reveal some fascinating insights into people, trends, demographics, and in many ways, America itself. I'm Bud Bacone, and we're about to tour the extreme ends of this 197 breed list to learn what top dogs tell us about ourselves, and to get acquainted with some of the underdogs, the remarkable breeds from the other end of the list.
It's not the dog that needs training, but the owner.
I am 50% pointer. There it is, there it is, there it is.
The American Kennel Club.
Laddie boy!
Toto too? Toto too?
And, of course, Lassie.
Down and Back. Stories from the AKC archive. With Bud Bacone.
So here we are, at the summit, the mountaintop, in the rarefied air, announcing the kings of the hill, the top of the heap. St. Bernard. No thanks, girl, we're good. All right. Here is AKC's list of the top 5 most registered breeds of the year. Hit it, Josh. At number 5, the Bulldog. Number 4, the Golden Retriever. Number 3, the German Shepherd Dog. Number 2, bit of a surprise here, the French Bulldog. And number 1, well, you know, the Labrador Retriever. Take 5, Josh. This feels like just the moment for an AKC breed biography. The Labrador Retriever is the traditional water dog of Newfoundland, long employed as a duck retriever and fisherman's mate, the kind of dog that says, "What's that? You want me to jump into the icy Atlantic and fetch the fish that slipped off your line? Let's do it!" The breed began its steady climb to supreme popularity in the early 1800s, when labs were spotted by English nobles visiting Canada. For reasons unknown, they soon adopted the handle Labrador, after the continental component of Canada's 10th province. The lab has a short, dense, weather-resistant coat in either yellow, black, or chocolate. It's resistant to crusting up with ice after being in the water, where its thick, so-called otter tail serves as its rudder. Labs have a kind, tractable, non-aggressive nature and are utterly democratic in their affection. Rather than gravitate to a single owner, labs are happy to serve as family protector with enough affection for everybody. A word on biases here. We live in a world where popular often means better. Number 1 is better than number 2, up is better than down. Yet the most popular registered breeds of dogs, however wonderful, don't top the list because they're better. As you'll soon see, their popularity is more complex than that. Now let's do a comparison. At number 4 on the list is the Golden Retriever, a perennial favorite since it was first recognized by the AKC in 1925. Today's Golden owes much of its muscular frame and outgoing, trustworthy nature to one Dudley Majorabanks, the first Lord Tweedmouth.
He is an Englishman
who developed the breed in the Scottish Highlands during the reign of Victoria. Seeking an ideal gun dog, he crossed his yellow retriever with a breed that is now extinct. The Tweed Water Spaniel, Irish Setter, and Bloodhound were also added to the program. Now, come with me and we'll take an elevator down to the bottom of the breed popularity list to find a dog in many ways comparable to the oh-so-popular Golden. Please keep your feet, arms, and paws inside the elevator at all times. And down we go. This might take a bit. Anyone know a joke? Okay, these two Scottish Terriers walk into a bar, and the first one said, "Oh, here we are." We're stopping at 102 on the breed popularity list. There she is, the flat-coated retriever. Like so many breeds, its roots are ancient, but this one's so-called modern history can be traced back to England in the mid-1800s. With the rise of newfangled gun technology, hunting quickly grew and evolved. Instead of stalking stationary targets on land, hunters could now take aim at birds in flight, which tended to land a great distance away, and often in water. The Reverend J.H. Walsh, who wrote under the pseudonym Stonehenge, wrote of the need for an established breed of English retriever. His preference, curly-coated or smooth, was for a black or black and tan dog derived from the smaller St. John's breed, perhaps crossed with a setter. Contemporary breeders went to work. They would introduce water spaniels into the breed and sheepdogs for their intelligence and aptitude for training. The new breed was first called the wavy-coated retriever, which by the 1860s was competing in dog shows. Enter Mr. Sue Wallace Evelyn Shirley of Eton and Oxford, Member of Parliament and founder in 1873 of the Kennel Club of England. Shirley became a champion of the breed, helping boost its popularity. Late in the century, following crosses with the Scotch Collie to eliminate the waviness in the coat, typically black or liver-colored, the breed became known as the flat-coated retriever. By the 1920s, it might have felt like the world was spinning out of control, what with all the horseless carriages and jazz music. It was about then that the flat-coated retriever's popularity began to wane. Though recognized by the American Kennel Club in 1915, it was soon eclipsed in popularity by, yes, the Labrador Retriever, and soon after, the Golden Retriever. And so today, as it has for decades, the playful, often mischievous, flat-coated retriever holds its place south of 100 on the list of AKC-recognized breeds. A 2008 piece in Gun Dog magazine summed up the breed nicely.
Somewhere in the gene pool of the FCR work the canine cousins of Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, with crosses to the dog versions of Larry, Mo, and Curly, and probably a dash of Emmett Kelly tossed in there for good measure.
What exactly drives breed popularity? A quick tour of the 20th century might be helpful. In the early 20th century, when the flat-coated retriever was unjustly relieved of its stardom, the Boston Terrier was the most registered AKC breed. In 1936, the Cocker Spaniel began an 18-year run as AKC's top dog. It was surpassed by the Beagle, which held the top spot for 6 years. Then came the Poodle, who ruled the registration's roost for 23 years. After the Cocker Spaniel made a comeback for a bit, the Lab took its place at the top in 1991, and that's where we came in. A 2014 research paper titled Dog Movie Stars and Dog Breed Popularity, you can guess where that's going, opined that dog owners are very much swayed by pop culture. They link the rise of certain breeds to books, television shows, and, of course, movies.
A dog who needed a home. A boy who needed a friend.
Rin Tin Tin was a boon for the German Shepherd dog. The Lassie movies of the 1940s begat a dramatic spike in collie ownership, just as Babe would stir the popularity of border collies a half a century later.
But this is no ordinary golden retriever.
I believe you got my dog.
In recent decades, films such as Homeward Bound, Air Bud, and Marley and Me coincided with the popularity of Goldens and Labrador Retrievers. Breed popularity sways also to the prevailing winds of housing and demographics. Consider the suburban housing boom of the 90s, giving rise to McMansions. By the early 2000s, the size of the average American home was 55% greater than 30 years earlier. Combine that with successful professionals having fewer kids, and those big houses have plenty of room for an energetic 80-pound dog, something that probably wouldn't have appealed to their city-dwelling grandparents. Once its dog star rises, a breed's popularity is contagious. Psychology professor Hal Herzog attributes this to the theory of cultural drift. That's a clinical term for monkey see, monkey do. If the family down the street owns a lovable, sweet-faced lab, maybe you'll want one too. Much in the same way baby names trend as they are today with Flora and Maisie and Rowan, Wilder, and of course Bud. It's Herzog's observation that dog breeds enjoy heydays of approximately 25 years, typically 2 to 3 generations of dogs. Another top 10 dog is the Beagle, the beloved foothound, meaning that, unlike most other hunting breeds, it's not hard for a hunter to keep up with a beagle on foot. No horse required. At number 7 on the popularity list, the Beagle is an ideal rabbit hunter who, fun fact, does not drool or have doggy odor, and its shedding is minimal. In 2008, a Beagle named Uno, a.k.a. champion K-Run's Park Me in First, won Best in Show at the Westminster Dog Show. Now, there's another breed that might easily remind you of the Beagle, but this one's way down the list. Hop in. We'll use the AKC golf cart. Way out at 190 on the list, the Harrier. In many ways resembling a Beagle, with a gym membership. She's larger than the Beagle, yet smaller than the English Foxhound, a breed used in her development. And she's a dog with a history. An article in the AKC Gazette of April 1953 reports that in 400 BC, the Greek author-philosopher Xenophon wrote in great detail about the technique for hunting hare and the qualities of the hound best suited for the sport, a description that would have you picking the Harrier out of any police lineup. And while that's uncertain, the English history of the Harrier is well known. There it can be traced back to 1260, when the King Henry franchise was only in its 3rd installment. That year, the Penistone Pack was established by Sir Elias de Midhope, a pack that held together for a remarkable 5 centuries. Many agree the breed's name is derived from hare, though some suggest it comes from harried, as in how you'd feel if you're a small quadruped being chased by an athletic hound. Though rare today, Harriers have been part of our country since colonial times, and it's likely George Washington used them to create uniquely American hounds. For every dog on the AKC's annual breed popularity list, there are legions of pursed lips and furrowed brows, and some intriguing trends. Several breeds, pounced up or down in rank, including the Belgian Malinois, which climbed from 60th to 37th. Now you compare the nationwide rankings with those of individual cities, and there begins the intrigue. Some cities were true to the national trend, with Labrador Retrievers as top dog in Denver, Raleigh, St. Louis, and Washington, D.C. The Golden Retriever is number one in Boston, Columbus, and Seattle. But in other U.S. cities, the French Bulldog is number one. We met the Frenchie last season when we described city dogs. This muscular bulldog in miniature with its signature bat ears doesn't bark much, but their alertness makes them excellent watchdogs. They get along well with other animals, like meeting people, and don't require a lot of outdoor exercise. It's a dog made for the city, which might explain why it's the number one dog in major U.S. centers from L.A. to New York, including Chicago, Miami, Dallas, San Francisco, and West Palm Beach. At number 16 on this year's list, the friendly, fastidious, and dignified Siberian Husky turned many a wet nose as early as 1910, when a team driven by John Ironman Johnson won the grueling 400-mile All-Alaska Sweepstakes race, and for the rest of the decade, the breed captured most of the racing titles in Alaska. Dog owners have enjoyed the company of this gentle, social breed ever since. It's a lovely dog, bred with similar intent and purpose to another breed that placed way down on the other end of the list. Come on. Taxi! Take me to number 186 on the list. Step on it. Well, that was pricey. But it's worth it, if only to get to meet the Chinook, the state dog of New Hampshire. In the early 1900s, accomplished musher and gold rush historian Arthur Treadwell Walden bred this tawny dog for both sledding and drafting. He began with a standout puppy of just the right size and temperament. According to the AKC's new complete dog book, Chinook was the name Walden gave to his prototype dog from the Inuit word for warm winter winds. Chinook was one of the offspring of a Greenland Husky bitch and a Mastiff-type farm dog. To add speed and strength, Chinook in turn was bred to German and Belgian Shepherd working dogs, whose issue became the first of the Chinook breed. A distemper outbreak in 1923 was a catastrophic setback, killing Walden's entire racing team except Chinook. Chinook and 15 of his sons made history in 1928. Led by Walden, they played an instrumental role in Admiral Richard Byrd's Antarctic expedition, but not without cost. During the expedition on his 12th birthday, Chinook wandered away and was never found. A dozen years later, Perry and Honey Green bought the existing Chinook breeding stock, moving them from New Hampshire to Maine. They insisted on maintaining exclusive breeding rights, and for the next 2 decades, Chinook numbers declined. And in 1965, the Chinook made the Guinness Book of World Records for all the wrong reasons. It had become the rarest dog in the world. By 1981, only 11 breedable Chinooks remained. Over the next 2 decades, a number of Chinook enthusiasts helped breed the dog back from the edge of extinction. Still among the rarest of AKC breeds, the Chinook remains a Swiss Army knife among dogs. In addition to sledding and carting, it's skilled in obedience, agility, search and rescue work, and herding. Live long and prosper, friend. Oh, and multiply, would you? To scan the annual AKC breed popularity list is to see into ourselves. The rise of the Frenchie speaks to growing urbanization, just as Labs and Goldens reflected affluent suburban sprawl. And as we've explored in the past, pop culture makes and breaks fashions and breeds. Wishbone, Frasier's Eddie and a number of movie appearances once ignited a new kind of love for the Jack Russell Terrier. Disney films have caused surges in popularity for Irish setters, Goldens, and of course Dalmatians. Disney's 1959 film The Shaggy Dog is said to have inspired a 100-fold increase in sheepdog registrations, which is good when it builds appreciation for magnificent breeds, and problematic when it attracts new owners to popular breeds that aren't right for their home and lifestyle. America can always find something of itself reflected in the AKC breed popularity list, which never fails to produce equal measures of joy, fascination, and harumphing. In fact, the only ones unconcerned about the rankings are the dogs themselves.
Down and Back, stories from the AKC archives. Visit akc.org to learn more about all things dog and find bonus materials for this episode. Follow the AKC on Instagram at American Kennel Club, on Twitter at AKC Dog Lovers, and let us know what you thought of the show. Founded in 1884, many dog years ago, the American Kennel Club is the recognized and trusted expert in breeds, health, and training. We advocate for responsible dog ownership and are dedicated to advancing dog sports. Research for Down and Back provided by the AKC Library and Archives, the only national repository dedicated to the sport and enjoyment of the purebred dog. Learn more about the collections at akc.org/library. No humans were harmed while making this show.